Hello, my name is Donnelly. I'm with Vaughan Public Libraries. I'm very excited today to welcome Madeline Rose Fiore here to talk to us about some of her interests and some of her passions. I know you have a lot of different interests and passions: photography, public speaking, creative writing, poetry, short films, many interests. How would you actually describe yourself?
Yeah, so I would describe myself as a storyteller. I feel like although I use different mediums and forms to create, I do it all to tell a story. And so I try to, use the form that I feel will tell that story in the best light possible.
I really like that about being a storyteller because, of course, in the library, we love stories and we love storytellers. So I really like that storytelling connection. What has motivated you to pursue these creative pursuits, all these different interests? Where do you find the passion to be a storyteller?
Yeah, I think I find passion through experiences. So whether that be the day-to-day experiences or just monumental experiences that I go through, I tend to find my passion from there, and I'll use that to tell my stories through my creative forms.
So on the surface, a lot of these interests seem different from each other. So photography, public speaking, creative writing, poetry, they seem like different things and different interests. Do they feel like different interests? Do they feel like when you're doing them, does it feel distinct? Does each feel distinct from each other? Or do they feel connected?
I feel like they're connected in a way just because, like I said, they're all being used to tell a story, right? So I feel like I can just kind of differentiate the form that I want to use to tell that story, right? So although they are different, physically, I feel like the way that they share the story is kind of represented, the way that it's meant to be.
Are there any examples of anything?
Yeah, so for example, when I'm doing photography, I feel like I'm able to capture a story that's being told not literally, right? Whereas if I'm writing poetry or a screenplay, that story is being told literally. But if I can mix and integrate those forms together, I'm telling a story on a bigger scale. So I feel like although they are different, they're still telling a story, and that's my main objective.
Were you interested in all of these creative pursuits as a child? Poetry, writing, photography, film, were those childhood interests as well? Was this something that was always there? Was this always part of you? Or is this something that you only developed as an adult?
Yeah, so when I was a child, I actually had like a camera that I would keep with me all the time, and I would just take pictures of, places that I went on vacation, concerts, just sort of experiences that I experienced. And as I got older, throughout high school, I carried a journal with me where I would just kind of write, daily prompts. And then it wasn't until grade 12 when I had taken a writer's craft class. That's where I really got to explore different forms of writing. So that's where I fell in love with poetry. And then from there, I continued that writing journey in university, and I studied journalism, and that was just a different form of storytelling in itself. And then, through other experiences that I've encountered throughout life, I fell in love with screenplay writing and just writing in general. So it's kind of been a little bit of a journey to get where I am now, but I've always had that sort of passion and that drive for sharing, these experiences and these feelings since I was a child.
Of all the many things you have accomplished as a photographer, public speaker, writer, poet, is there an accomplishment that makes you the proudest or has given you the most satisfaction?
Yes, I think the most recent poetry book that I self-published has been my biggest accomplishment to date. I'm extremely happy with the way that it came out, and I actually recently turned it into a short film, which I'm ecstatic about. And I feel like being able to take that story and write it and publish it and then turn it into a short film as well just gave me that sense of achievement that I needed to feel to make it feel like that story is complete and that it's finished and it's been told.
What's the name of that book?
It's called My Pocketbook of I Love Yous.
Very nice. So looking back, do you have advice for someone who might be interested in pursuing a career in the arts, either in writing or photography or a different creative pursuit? Is there anything you wish you had known when you were younger?
Yeah, my advice would be just do it. I feel like often, times when you're sharing your work, it can be very vulnerable. And I feel like if you have a story to tell or if you have something that you want to share, just do it and don't hold back from doing that. And I wish that, as I was younger, I was told not to listen to what other people had to say and just follow my instinct and just do what feels right and trust that I know what I'm doing.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing this. The goal of the Living Library is to give people a chance to share their stories. And so it's perfect having you here as a storyteller. And I like the way that, in fact, all these different mediums are, in fact, ways and means of telling stories. So just like what we're doing now, this is a chance for you as part of the, as one of our Living Library guests, to share your story here as well. And that's certainly what we want to do at Vaughan Public Libraries. Not just all the books we have that are just books. People think of stories and they think just of books. But exactly what you're saying, stories can be told in so many different mediums and so many different ways. And that's what we're really hoping to do with the Living Library, is let people hear different voices and hear these different stories. So this is fabulous. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming and sharing with us today.
Of course, thank you.